Okay, so for this function right here, so we're finding the domain of the square root function. So one thing you look at it here, so you have a square root function here, square root function. And inside you have a polynomial function. Okay, so first of all, what does a square root mean? So if I give a square root of negative number, what happens? What happens if I give a square root of negative number on the calculator? It's gonna say is undefined, or you can say error on the calculator. Agree?
Yeah.
Right. So that's gonna tell you an error. So basically, in order to get rid of that, it has to be greater than 0 or greater than or equals to 0. So if you have a square root function, that whatever the inside has to be greater than or equals to 0. Means the x squared minus 3x plus 2 should be greater than or equals to 0. So once you have the quadratic or polynomial function, let's find out the factors for this. So if I find the factors, the 2, you break it down. So 2, I can write at 2 times 1, but I need the negative 3 in the middle, so I can take both of them negative. So the x minus 2 and then x minus 1. Now, after this one, I would like to find out what is my domain. Here, what number should I take? I know if I put this number line, or if you look at this polynomial function, where that's going to cross, I'm going to show you quickly. See, I'm going to take a graph quickly so you can see that. Go to graphing calculator. See it up there. So our function is y equal x squared minus 3x plus 2. Okay, so plus 2. So if I look at this one carefully, when I make it a little bit bigger, I want you to see these points right here. You see the graph there? So what's happening in this graph? I'm going to explain this one here. So from here, this point, this graph is positive. Positive. The value of the graph here also positive. And then the graph is negative in the below. Right here, this is the graph is negative because it's negative values. You see that? So this is negative. So if I plug in any numbers in between these, in between 1 and 2, my answer is going to be a negative number, which is I can't have, because a square root function has to be a positive value. So I can't take anything in between 1 to 2. So, but I can take 1 and below. So, which I can write negative infinity to positive 1. And also I can take positive 2 and up, which is 2 to infinity. So it is both like an union, so that way it's both together. Okay, does that make sense?
So it's going both ways, right?
Yes, because the graph is going up or positive or above the x-axis, this here and also here. Okay, so the graph, the polynomial function graph is positive here and here. That means my domain this and this, which is negative infinity to up to positive 1. And also
Have this like a square root of something? Will it always go both sides?
It depends on the function what you have inside. Because the square root function right here, we have a polynomial function inside. So that's one of the reasons we see that up there. Okay?
But here, because you said it can be either in positive or negative, so that's why you put in both sides.
Right. One reason here is a polynomial function, right? That's one of the reasons. So here, as I mentioned to you, inside here, if it is a linear function, then you can see it like one value. But if it is a quadratic function like this, since you have a positive in the from here to here and also here to here, that's the reason you have two of them. But if you look at it here, the polynomial function becomes a negative. So you can't take a negative out because it's a square root function. It has to be greater than or equal to 0. So that's one of the reasons your domain for this function right here, it's going to be negative infinity to 1, and then union 2 to infinity. Okay?
Okay. Can I see the other questions now? Or
Yeah, we'll
can I
check
share
that
my
out
screen?
too. Sure, give me a second.